Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the very delayed third episode of The Flank. I am BigBlackRainbows, again, one of your hosts, Captain Solar Phoenix, content creator for Duo. Alongside me today, we have Tommy2Time again, current mid laner for Primal Radiance, content creator, all that other fun, good stuff. And besides him, we are joined by our special guest, which is, I'm going to pronounce it Solus, but I'm sure he can pronounce it correctly later. He is the current mid laner for Glacial Academy. He plays in the IBSG League, and I'll let him talk a little bit. So how you doing there?
Hello. I am Souleos, I guess.
So yes, okay.
I'm I was the mid for Glacial Academy in the IBSG CS League, I want to say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
that sounds
mouthful.
about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a mouthful. It's a lot of letters. Yeah. So I'm the starter mid for that team. Uh, I got trash talked by a lot of people. I trash talked a lot of people. That's pretty much it, I guess.
Fair enough.
Nice. Well, once again, welcome, and I say let's hop right into it. So, because we were a little behind, we got to see all of week 2 and most, if not all, of week 3. But we'll kind of focus on week 2 games, and we'll provide insight as needed. So this week we also have a new team joining Duo. Eyes on Us, who did join, didn't submit a roster, didn't say anything in Duo, and then kind of just left. So now we have, I'm gonna call them Solar uh
Dodos.
Solar Dodos, but because of technical reasons, they are now considered 50,000 ALAws, which is fucking retarded, but okay.
Yeah,
Um,
I get the whole like corruption, whatever. Like the whole
mhm.
you can't have two teams in the same division, whatever. But like Christ, just change the name then. Like don't try and scamaz everyone by just flipping the name or whatever. This shit was so stupid.
Very
As soon
true.
as I saw that, I didn't even know about the team, and I saw the voice channel for their team like in Duo, and I was like, did somebody like fall asleep on their keyboard? What the fuck is this? Like, but yeah, 50,000 AALOZ or Solar Dodos or whatever. They're gonna be coming in to the GPCS. They're gonna be joining. Well, I shouldn't be say joining Solar Eclipse, but they're gonna be joining the Baron division, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
Baron Vision.
From what I've heard, they had the option to join with the 0-6 record. That spot, I don't even know whose spot it is anymore, but that spot. Um, or they could start 0-2 and attempt to replay week 2 matches where that team was supposed to have 4 matches that week. I believe they opted to do all the replays, but that's going to be a hell of a lot of replays to do on top of your regular season games. So we'll see how that works out. I know a few of the players on the roster. It doesn't look as bad as some people are claiming, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I've learned to not talk as much shit after saying my piece and then getting rightfully backhanded. So I'll just I'll keep it limited today.
Yeah. I think what's nice about them having to replay a lot of games is that while when they join fresh, you don't really have a good gauge of how good they are. But if they're playing like back-to-back matches, like 5 or 6 matches in one week, then you do get a pretty good understanding of what their strengths are,
That's
what their
true.
weaknesses are,
That's true.
how high their ceiling are. Is
very, very true. So quick overview of that roster. Top lane, we're gonna have Mike 89051, who is better known as Mike Taylor. Those who are random call him that. We have Walkie in the jungle,
Oh,
support main, probably just filling in for the time being, I assume. We
interesting.
have,
Okay.
yeah, very. We have Zooey, who was the previous top laner for PSV, going back to his natural role in mid lane. We have Killjoy226, who has been around Duo for a very long time. He was previously an offender with being on a team that had a Smurf or something like that, so he's coming back to reclaim that title. And then we have Zymphonic joining
Oh,
them in the support role. So, like you said, Tommy, their roster doesn't look that bad. A lot of really good names, or sorry, a lot of well-known names, I should say.
So I said that because I thought Waki was supporting, but I didn't know he was jungling. Again, I've never seen him jungle, but I have seen his support, and that's why I was like, this team looks like pretty decent because it had Zui, Killjoy, and Waki. But I don't dislike Symphonic as a support. I think he's actually very good. He's also a really great caster. I've casted beside him a few times, um, but I'm excited to see how they play. I think they'll actually do pretty decently in the Baron division. I think right now the only team that really concerns me is Stunned and maybe the new Solar Eclipse. But we'll talk more about the new Solar Eclipse again this week after talking about it last week. Um, so that's the only new duo news, I guess, for this week. I don't think there was any Discord drama or anything, was there? I don't.
Not to my knowledge. The only thing
We did have a punishment.
we did.
Bang Bus Driver. He
Bang
got
Bus Driver.
yeah. Bang Bus
Yeah,
Driver took his 2-week vacation. See you later. Probably on the most important week of the season for him. I mean, besides maybe playoffs, but yeah, Bang Bus Driver did receive a 2-week punishment. Had to miss out on his game in week 3 against Solar Phoenix, which basically hand-fed Solar Phoenix their win. Pablo.
He couldn't support Diff Pablo, so he was really sad about that.
I mean, you kind of have to be eligible to play in the game to do that. So.
True.
Definitely don't get banned for toxicity before your games. It might fuck over your team a little bit.
I mean, yeah, I like how you added before your games because trust me.
Yeah, I mean after your games, like who cares, dude?
True.
I mean, you get banned,
Well,
right? Whatever.
speaking of toxicity, I've seen you Souleos pop up in general chat causing a bit of commotion. So, are you the type of player that's like talk your shit and like before the game, or are you someone that's like gonna let their like gameplay speak for itself?
I mean, I feel like it's more respectable to talk shit before the game, because if you're like beating on someone after they're down, then it's kind of rude, right? But at the same time, it's like way more satisfying if you like don't say anything back, and then after you like shit on them, and they just like feel bad, and then you just lay into them.
Yeah, they really do.
Like they can't say anything. They got their ass handed to them. You know?
I like how BBR, you know exactly what I'm laughing about too. So I don't know if you were around last season, but my team, Pawn Sacrifice White, we made it to the semifinals. We had to play against a team called Rift Dragons, who had some, in my opinion, sketchy roster changes the week before playoffs.
Very.
And they basically scratched their entire roster and brought in an org that was arguably like better than like the team was like replacing. And we got clapped 2-0 in semifinals, and Waki, who was the previous captain, decided to full on just like shit post, and like he put up on his stream Rift 2-0 PSW and then left it running for like 6 hours. Like he was just going hardcore flaming. Like he made a twit longer that literally just said Tommy is a hoe. So I mean, yeah, when you say they feel bad, dude, I felt bad, but hey, you know what? We moved past it.
I mean, that's like next level, right? That's
Waki's
like when you
Waki's a douche, but like he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's doing content for Duo now, so I mean, I can help that, or I can appreciate that he's taking some labor off my back.
Yeah, but if you don't know the person, that's like when it goes from like trash talk to like, this is kind of a douchebag thing to do.
That's just Waki though. Waki's gonna call you a shitter to your face.
I mean, you're always gonna have people like that, right?
Yeah.
Very true.
I forget. Well, I mean, since we're on the topic of you, I mean, why don't you give us a little insight about like how you found your team, how you found Duo, stuff like that? Because we kind of brushed past all of that at the start. So like, how did you join Glacial Academy? How did that come to be?
So I was on a Risen team. I don't know if you've heard of the Risen League.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just posted a message, and they're looking for a team. Like, hey, I'm a hobo. I abuse a collie. I need a team. Blah blah blah. I got a bunch of offers. and I got one from the owner of Glacier, which was from Soulfire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he said, "You want to be on the team?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And he got back to me a month later, saying,
Wow.
"Yeah, we have a slot for you and stuff. We'll get to you on a team. It's an academy team for one of our gold teams, and yeah, we'll just get you in." So then I was on that team. He gave us a schedule, which I could make it to like 30% of the games because they were in the middle of the week. And the first game I played, it was like, okay, yeah, you're playing in this league called Duo Esports, and I was like, okay, what's Duo Esports? Literally who? And then my coach was like, I don't know, just shit on them. And then I was like, okay, cool, I just shit on them. And then joined the server, some gay ass rule where you don't use pro draft or something. I'm like, what the hell is this dog shit league? Like what? And then went into chat. I was like, I didn't know about this, so I was like, why aren't we doing pro draft? And then the captain of Zero Risk, no hate by the way, he was like, are you retarded? Let's just run client draft. And then I was like, I mean, no, that was paraphrasing. He was pretty much like, why don't we just do client draft? And then me and my team were like, well, why don't we just do pro draft? And then we wouldn't waste time shitting about not doing pro draft. And then he was like, oh, you guys are dumbasses. Let's just do client draft. So we did client draft, and then we reamed their ass, which is pretty cool, I guess.
That's gotta feel good. So.
Yeah, it does feel pretty good. I definitely got a bit out of hand with the trash talk afterwards, but we can talk about that later.
I mean,
Yeah, that's pretty
I
much
prefer
accurate.
trash talk over humbleness. You know.
Yeah, true. And then, well, it turns out that our
Shut
bronze
the fuck
one
up.
30% win rate support is ineligible. So we had to replay the team. I trash talked because I shat on them last time, and then I got fucked in the ass. So
Oof.
definitely hate to see it, right? But
Definitely.
it happens, you know.
So how do you said this is your first season in duo, right?
Yeah, I played like 3 games
3 games?
in this league.
Okay. Well, hey, you're
Yeah.
already making an impression because you were the most voted person to join for last week. But how's your experience been so far? You know, how's the community? How do you enjoy the content? Do you want more content, more shit posts, stuff like that?
So I think Duo Esports is definitely a very XD league.
XD.
You guys have very questionable decisions and rules, and the community is all right, right?
Mhm.
You guys have like boomer senses of humor. I'm not gonna lie. And
True.
That's so true. That's so
I mean,
true.
I'm like a kid. I'm just sitting with like grown American men, and then we're talking about video game League of Legends. So I guess bound to have
I don't
some
know if
boomer
this
ass
is
humor
I don't
here,
know if
right?
this is like you don't want to answer this, but how old are you? Just out of
I'm
curiosity.
17.
17? Okay, yeah. So there's a lot of people in here that are like college kids or graduated from college,
Yeah,
but and like so yeah,
definitely.
you're 17 playing with like 23, 24. Some people are 30 even. So yeah, you do it's the sense of
Yeah, it's
humor is
definitely pretty weird. I was on a ZGG team where everyone had a kid,
Oh,
and
and you're like,
Wow.
I am a
my
kid.
yeah, and my jungler's daughter was a year younger than me. So
What?
that was, yeah, that was pretty nuts.
That's
That
weird.
was,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm like I don't know if you know Peanut. He's the AD carry for my team. He's 27, I think. He's 27 or I think he's 27 and I'm 22. So, and I've been playing with him since I was 17. So, I mean, we've been going through it a while, but like I just realized like last year that he was that much older than me. And I was just like, "Bro, I thought you were like my age. This is
That's mega
weird."
boomer.
Like, oh,
Yeah,
he is a boomer. He's a hella boomer.
when I was 14, I joined an Overwatch team, and my main tank was like 30, and we had a lot of discussions about how he was my age when I was born. That was pretty funny.
Wow.
Yikes.
Yeah. So, anyways, going back to where we were talking about,
Yeah. Hmm.
We were just
which I
talking.
forgot.
It was about the
Something about
duo server.
joining Duo.
How do you like
Oh
it?
yeah, Duo.
What's your
Boomer sense of
experience
humor.
like?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm okay with the people on it. But what's definitely impressed me is like what I'm doing right here. Podcasts,
Hey, that's what we
power
aim for.
rankings.
Yeah.
Yeah, the content here is pretty top tier, dude. That's why I'm interested in this league.
Thank you.
Otherwise, it would just be like, oh, this is dog shit league. Doesn't even run pro drafts. Not worth playing in. But it's
Okay.
definitely
So I feel you on that. So have like okay, my team doesn't even need pro draft, but like there's been instances in the past seasons where like if we used Pro Draft, the games would have been so much different, um, or so much better handled because like if you don't have all the champions, like your draft just immediately gets scuffed, you know. So
Yep.
I messaged I think maybe 25 people over the off season to try and like write a petition, and we had like hard facts, like statistics, like examples from other leagues, like all that would benefit Duo from using Pro Draft. And I basically told Shuno like at the next staff meeting I'm gonna bring this up, and then we didn't have a staff meeting for like 3 months,
And then we forgot
and then
about
we
it.
forgot about it. so,
True.
so
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of changes that I still think can
I
be
mean,
implemented. So, I
it
mean,
definitely tilted me the first time I found out about it, or our support typed in general. I have 30 champs. What do I do? And the co-owner, whatever that dude is named, Voslo, was just like, "Oh, tough luck,
just
dude."
buy
Like
all the
what?
champs, forehead. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
just drop $100, buy all the champs, and you're
Hey,
probably
isn't this
balling.
unfair that people with more champs have an advantage? And then the
that's
dude replied like, "Well, it sounds like players with more champions are more valuable." Like, wow, dude, didn't know we just forgot to consider skill. And I guess number of champions on your account is more important. But okay,
True.
I mean,
Voslo just doesn't like sitting through pro draft, but also I don't know. I think it should
boomer
be
humor and zoomer patience.
true, true, true. Well, we have already spent 15 minutes going through some little introductions. Why don't we hop into some game recaps? So
Hell
it's
yeah.
been a hot minute since these games happened. We've had to reschedule this podcast twice now, for
Thanks
reasons.
to your boy right
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I'm just gonna throw it out there.
BBR's sleep schedule is
Uh,
definitely popping off
so,
here.
so it's gonna be.
Boomer.
You're gonna have to excuse me if I forget some of the details that happened in some of these games. It has been over a week since these happened, but so recap. We are talking about week 2 games. I know this is gonna be coming after week 3 games, but we're talking about week 2 games. All right. So Friday. Let me just bring this up. We had first game Pawn Sacrifice Black versus MG Waves, where at the moment Pawn Sacrifice Black was only, I believe, 1-2.
Yep.
People were still debating them to be the number 2, number 3 team in that division. Uh, Meanwhile, MG Waves is sitting back watching everybody talk their shit, and then Arch just pulls out LeBlanc and walks through everyone on Pawn Sacrifice Black. So, uh, I don't really think there was a whole lot to discuss about this game because I watched the game. I vividly remember Arch just kind of doing whatever he wanted. Uh, I think PSB, even with the role swap with Sheer to the top lane, playing Shen,
Yep.
right? Shen, yeah, and then legit Sack was playing
Volley.
Volibear.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that was the Vagar game. That's right. I do remember that. Okay, yeah, that was Tate's Vagar game. Um,
Vagar.
um, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. There's not a whole lot to talk to dissect about this, but
I will just give a quick shout out to Legit Sack. I remember him stealing 3 back-to-back Drakes if I remember correctly, and that was a really good effort by him. Um, and he single-handedly pulled that game back from an unwinnable state to a manageable state. But then, like Tommy said, Arch just kind of did whatever the fuck he wanted,
yeah,
and one shot probably 3 out of the 5 members on that team, which was fun to watch. But yeah,
yeah. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think Archer's performance is definitely really impressive. But
I think
yeah, I think it's more of
he's
it's definitely a statement game for MG
yes,
Waves, right?
well,
Because when your mid's popping off, your mid has like 15 kills on LeBlanc or something. It takes a really, really good team, a really, really coordinated team to sit back and go, okay, how do we play around this LeBlanc? How do we win the game? How do we play it around win conditions?
I mean they
And
had
how do we
the
avoid?
tools to do it. They just like
Yeah, definitely.
they had
But even with the tools, they had Veigar, they had LeBlanc. I mean, they had Volley, they had Shen. They definitely had ways to peel the LeBlanc off, right? But even then, you need a lot of coordination to actually do it when LeBlanc kills your ADC in like one W, one
yeah.
R, W.
very true, very true.
Well, a great statement for MG Waves, but we'll talk about another statement about them that happened in game 3 or week 3, their match next week. Again, and talk
We
about
can hint towards it a little bit later, but
bro, it
yeah.
was a beatdown.
It was bad. Yeah.
So next up, the on-stream game, we had Primal Radiance versus Aether, and I don't want to talk about this game.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about it.
it was bad.
I don't want to talk about it.
I just have one question.
Yep.
Why did Nuffies leave Vi open? That's all I want to know.
Bro. Okay. I'll tell you what this. Okay. All right. I love Nuffies. I love him. He's a funny guy. His coaching skills can be kind of troll sometimes. His drafting, pretty good most of the time. But when we see them the night before go 10-0 on Vi, on this guy's signature champion, we watched the game. I think someone spectated it, right, or something like that. And basically, Vi level 2 ganks bot lane. They camp bot lane. Vi gets ahead. Senna scales. Boom, boom, boom. Whatever. It's done. I say, okay, we can either ban Vi or ward bot lane after or wards river / try whenever the lane is looking like, and just prepare for an early gank bot because they had Pyke, Senna, Vi, which if they get on top of you, they are just gonna kill you. So I was like, why don't we just ignore the whole what if scenario and just ban the Vi? He goes, Vi is a dog champ. Okay.
Yikes.
Okay. Counter argument. This is a platinum league where everyone overall is not amazing, right? Like we're better than platinum league, gold plat, everyone's in the top 10% of players, right? Like statistically. But we're still platinum. There's all of diamond, all of masters, all of grandmasters, all the challenger players that are actually like great at this game. We're just like above average. So like yes, you can say in a perfect like vacuum setting, this is how you would counteract this play, but like it's not going to be executed every single time. So why not just remove that possibility of it going wrong and just ban the champion? However, the Vi wasn't even my biggest problem with that game. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was.
I know what your biggest problem was.
Yeah, I know, and I heard you talk about it on the tower dive, Mr. Unnamed Source or whatever. Yeah, I'm coming out here fully backing this statement that when you didn't see this because we did do it in pro draft, but we first picked Ashe.
Oh, pro draft.
Oh yeah, we pro. He literally joined just to say pro draft. So first pick Ashe, second phase Senna, Akali. If you blind pick Akali, you are either 100% confident in any matchup in the mid lane, or the champion's just broken, which I think she's pretty goddamn strong.
I can say from experience, as someone very experienced in blind picking Akali, I think against gold and plat mids, you can definitely do it into any matchup you want if you play Akali enough. If you're confident, I think even LeBlanc, even Veigar, even Galio, you can definitely make it work.
That's fair.
Is it ideal? No. Should you be doing it?
You could work around it.
Ideally, no. But if you're like some kind of Akali crack addict, then just go for it, right? It's like the comfort is really important at this level of play.
I agree. I agree, 100%.
Very, very true. Yep.
So yeah, they picked Akali on red 2, and basically went unnoticed the rest of the draft because we were so worried. Is the Vi gonna come? Is this gonna come? Whatever. And we get to blue 5 pick where we have to pick mid, and I go, I don't want to play Corki into Akali. And they're like, why not? And I'm like, because they have Akali, Vi, and I think the top lane was Sion, which didn't really matter, I guess. But I didn't want.
I think Corki's definitely troll there.
And so he was like, then what do you want to play? And I'm like, give me something like an Orianna, give me something like a Lissandra, right? Like, give me something that can actually do something. And, you know, it's funny enough, I say that, we run out of time on Pro Draft, and Pro Draft locked in Lissandra. And so it locks in Lissandra, and I'm like, no, we can play this. Nuffies goes, nah, tell him it's Corky. You know how to play Corky.
Yikes!
I was like,
Coach Diff, boys.
I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
Coach Diff.
sure, we're gonna do that.
Definitely Coach
So
Diff.
like, even so, I think like I'm not even like flaming like Aether flaming my team. I'm really like kind of blaming myself because I was at a point in the game that I had an early kill. I had my Manamune at like 8 minutes. I had like 10 CS per minute, and I was
That's the
farming really
dream,
well.
right?
I was farming really well. I had Cole finished at 12 minutes. Like,
Wow.
That's
yeah.
nuts. That's pretty
Yeah,
nuts.
so like
For flat, that's literally
that's
the
what I'm saying.
dream, right?
I was stacked. We had first dragon. I was 2-0. I had Manamune, Sork shoes, Cole finished. Like I was fucking stacked. And then I griefed like 2 fights in a row. I didn't flash a Pike R, and then I overchased a Pike who just E'd me in. Like I chased him through his E, and then Vi just one shot me. Like I griefed 2 fights, and then we had no lockdown for Akali, no lockdown for Pike, and I personally think I griefed the game, but I like to say it's a draft diff, even though I think drafting differently would have made it a lot easier. But anyway,
I would say
Aether,
it's definitely both, right?
yeah,
Because I mean, yeah, you inted, but like, yeah, do you want to be playing Corky there, even with
no,
Manamune, even with
no,
Finish Call?
no,
Definitely not,
fuck
right?
no,
No
no.
lockdown for Akali. That's no lockdown for Pike. Definitely, like, something went wrong before the game even started.
I agree.
Very true.
I agree. But congratulations to Aether. They did actually end up 2-0 that week, which bumped them up in the power rankings quite a lot. Uh, I've learned not to talk shit because it's gonna bite me in the ass. Um, but
Yes,
you
it
know,
will.
go Aether. Anyway,
The thrill
next.
of it, the thrill of it always entices, you know. It's like, what if we smash the shit out of them after calling them dogs, you know?
Yeah,
It's exciting.
I mean, hey, I said last week that I thought IBSG teams could beat Aether, so and then we lost to them. So
Yep. And not only
Yes,
you
so good.
guys, like, I know we're gonna talk about this later, but Pawn Sci-Fi's Black also lost to Aether in a much more horrible fashion than you guys
yeah,
did.
yeah, they
But
did.
yeah, we'll get to that later.
So the last game that happened on Friday of last week was Glacial versus Pawn Sacrifice Blue. That's Glacial Academy, which Souleos, you had the pleasure of playing in, I believe.
Exciting. Yeah, we
So
can talk about this game
yeah, go ahead and give us
from
some
my
insight.
perspective.
Run us through it.
So, definitely, I mean, from an outsider's perspective, it's like, oh, Pawn Sacrifice just shit on another team, right? It's like, who would have thought? Wow. But I think definitely could have went a lot better. Like, a lot better, right?
Mhm.
First of all, our AD flicked. Like, sucks. It happens. Seems to happen to me a lot. So I'm basically auto-filled, right? I'm playing 80. My captain puts me on B1 Ash, which is like whatever, right? I mean, yeah.
Yep.
My 80 is super washed, which I said multiple times in chat actually. And I mean, draft just went through. It was like a blur, dude. PS Blue is actually insane. Like credit to them. They're a great team. I think their ADC is actually nuts. Like to pick
Yes.
Zaya and to make it work, I think he's nuts. He's like easily probably the best player in the league.
Well,
I'll have to say.
I did
He's
say this when they first submitted a roster. I mean, these are 3 out of 5 of the players played in the Platinum League last season. So if they didn't like stand out in IBSG, then it's kind of saying something. You know,
yeah.
I think they're definitely.
I
I
mean,
think they were good enough to play in GPCS.
Oh, absolutely.
They just wanted to take a more lighthearted approach. They didn't want to have to stress as much. So
well, I mean, if you look at someone's like stats, like look at a duo sheet, you look at their KD, it's like, oh, this dude's got 15 KD, he's like 30% damage share, whatever. I mean, they look good, right? It doesn't mean they're good. They're just doing their job on a good team, right?
Yep.
But I don't think, what's his name, Okina? I
Okina.
don't think he's one of those. I think he's genuinely insane at the game. Like from my experience laning against him, he's mega consistent. Like his laning is like hella pussy, but I feel like every gold player plays like that, right? They just farm and they don't walk up to you. And I think that was good for me because like if someone walks up to me bot lane, I'm like, ah shit, I just lose lane because I can't bot lane for shit. But Yeah, he did miss a single CS. His team fighting was hella clean. We like didn't kill him once, I think.
I mean,
That was stunning.
speaking of Okina, there was an in-house that was played like I think like Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that, and the way the teams worked out, I was playing bot lane, and Okina was on the other team, and I was really hoping to play against Okina because like I've scrimmed against him, but never laned against him, and I've like we're like sending post people or we're sending each other messages on like League, like he banned Azir and he sent like a winky face, and I was just like I literally was playing bot lane, and then he was like, I just wanted to ban it from you, haha, whatever. And I was like, okay, well, you're about to get clapped, whatever. And then he ends up going mid lane, and I was like, you're fucking, I was like, you're a pussy, I literally picked 80 carry because I wanted to fucking lane diff you, but you went mid lane. So I was playing with, fuck, who was it? Um, Titan Duff. Titan Duff got put on mid lane
Okay.
too. So it was I forget who the top and support was. Oh, the support was codename Wally, who was the top laner for Pawn Sacrifice Red.
Yep.
Who by the way, his Alistar was like fucking crazy. I was like, dude, I don't know why you're playing top lane. Like, you should play support. But Titan Duff and Potato Fist, he was they were on the same team. So I was like, oh, someone's getting off rolled. I'll AD carry because that's my secondary role, and one of you two can figure out who's going mid. So Okina plays Oriana. Titan Duff says, I'm going to play full AP Malphite. Locks it in. And let me tell you, he made Okina's like night just absolute shit. Like if Okina walked over a ward, Titan Duff pings on the way, on the way, on the way. Solo ults him. He literally targeted him, solo tunneled onto him. He made Okina go like 2-9 or something like that, or 2-11, and I was just like, bro, my damage. I was playing Vayne. I got a pentakill. I was 14-5. I had half as much damage as a full AP Malphite because on cooldown he would ult Okina. I was like, bro, you.
Yes.
I was like, so Okina, your 80 carry, pretty fucking clean. Mid lane needs some work. You need some tips. Hit up Draxer. I hear $35 an hour or something like that.
Or you can just hit up Tommy. I mean, he's pretty
No,
good at
I'm,
inting.
I'm pretty fucking washed. I'm sorry. Um, but that's enough about Okina. We're fucking
Back to the
sucking him off.
PS Blue
Yeah.
game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was autofilled AD. I mean, you hate to see it, right? When you say in general chat, I'm gonna mid diff the shit out of Lone Wind, and it never happens, it feels bad, right?
Hey, you
Definitely
get
feels
another
bad.
chance at it. You guys play him again. So.
Uh, actually, that's something else that we might get to later. But
Oh.
anyways, yeah. Uh, yeah, I was really excited to mid against PS Blue. I think PS Blue is a great team,
Mhm.
but I think that my mid is okay. It's super coin flippy, but at the same time, I think I can smash any. I can smash any mid. I can smash any team in duo if I'm feeling like it, and if I'm not feeling like it, I'm gonna go 2-8 against freaking Death Lotus NA. So
That's pretty bold of you to say, my guy.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll never know what would have happened, right? But
That's true. That's true.
yeah, and I will say, yeah, they're definitely an insane team, a lot better than pretty much anyone in the league. So you never know, right? But at the same time, I don't think Lone Wind's better than me. I don't think he's close to me, but he's a team player, right? Plays Veigar, plays those good champs, and he's on a good team. Maybe he calls shots. I don't know. He's a team player. He's on a good team. So I mean, I think when you're against a team like that, if you start trying to play like a standard team, it starts to fall apart, right? Because they're so practiced, they're so good, they're so clean. Their macro is nuts. Their team fighting is nuts. What are you gonna do? And like the only way as a worse team, you have a chance against a team like PS Blue, is if you start picking like solo queue shit, dude. Like you pick an assassin mid, you pick a carry jungler, and you just hope to like run them over, like mid gap them, jungle gap them, bot gap them. That's your only hope, right? Unless you're just a straight up a better team.
True.
And I think that our Glacial roster definitely had that potential. But I was fucking autofilled on Ash B1, so we'll never know.
Well,
Rest in peace.
hopefully you guys can get him on the second round robin. I definitely, I just to finish up on PSB. It's like they are an insane team, but I hate to talk shit because who knows if I'll ever play them, but I don't know. I can't remember, like, until you said Lone Wind's name, I couldn't tell you who their mid laner was. I
Yeah, I would
never,
have to agree. There's nobody notable on their team except for
except
Okina,
Okina.
right?
Maybe
It's the Okina
maybe
show.
Corny, because Corny played last
Maybe.
season, but
Yeah.
We
like,
all remember what happened to Corny though.
what happened to Corny?
Oh, he was
Oh, wasn't
the
he bullied
jungler,
off of Rift or
and
something
he
like
was
that?
bullied off of
Yeah.
Rift. Yeah.
I thought that was Okina. I thought Okina was
No,
bullied off.
no. It
Oh.
was the first round of the playoffs, or right before the first round.
Oh, you're right. I remember that. I
Yeah, yeah,
remember
yeah,
that. I remember
yeah.
that.
That's why I will always remember Corny, unfortunately.
Unfortunate. All right, so we've done our take on Friday's games, so why don't we hop into some Saturday games, Mr. BBR?
Yes. So Saturday we only had 3 games because one of them was supposed to be um a
Eyes on Us Twilight, right?
Eyes on Us Twilight. Yep. And that, like we said earlier, didn't happen because they weren't part of the season, so to speak. So we're gonna start off with DOV Thunder versus GGD, and as everyone kind of expected, DOV Thunder did win. GGD still at that time was not looking very good, and I'm not gonna sit on that game too long. Like it kind of, like I said, went as expected. Windblade user and the rest of the team didn't perform very well, and it was a long game, 35 minutes, but not very close in pretty much any part of that game, if I remember correctly. Uh, but yeah, GGD is not looking good. They did pick up a win during the week 3 games, but still, besides that, they're not looking very good currently.
I
Uh,
just want to mention DOV Thunder. I think they're pretty like under the radar at the moment. I know again, everything we say is like super in speculation. Like we're only in week 3 of 11. Well, technically we're
mhm.
heading into week 4, but DOV Thunder, I don't think any of their members talk in general chat. I don't think any of them really like shitpost or try and like build their name or anything like that. But I don't know personally anybody on that roster, but I still see that team perform like above average. Like I'm pretty sure they're sitting in third right now, or maybe fourth.
Uh, yeah, I think it's third
Third,
after
yeah.
this past week. Yeah.
Um, and for a team to like be humble as they are, not talk their shit, but still also perform really well. I think they're gonna make sort of that. What was that team last season? The team Darkspark, where no one's
Mhm.
really active or vocal in the like in the community, but they still like sneak their wins and keep their way in the standings. And I think people are gonna like sleep on them. I really do. And then when they play against them, they're gonna be like, "Oh shit, this team's actually serious." So
Very true. Very true. Yeah. So after that, we had Zero Risk versus Two Poros, and again, Two Poros is still not looking good. In the show match, or not sorry, in the showcase stream at the very beginning, a lot of people thought that they would be a top team with how good their roster was on paper, and sad to say, it's not
it's
happening that
not
way.
happening.
So I'm pretty sure Two Poros is still winless. If I'm wrong, I'm very sorry since
That
we
are
are
only like
behind.
one win.
Yeah,
It's
and
it's a GGD.
um, yeah, and Zero Risk, for their credit, has been very coin flippy, at least in my opinion, looking through like or watching games, looking through match results and stuff like that. But they picked up the win. They did, I thought, decent. I don't remember the game exactly since it has been a while, unfortunately. But yep, Tuparo's still looking for their first win, I believe.
And Zero Risk, I think, is a pretty decent team. Like you said, it's very coin flippy. I mean, I've played some games with Potato Fist, like in houses, stuff like that. We had him on the show last week.
Mhm.
I think those players, if they could just get someone to straighten out some builds or straighten out some decision making, because like their losses are like close and their wins are closer. Um, there was a
Okay.
game where they came back. I think it was against the two Poros where they came back, or maybe it was the loss that they had the off-stream game. I'm not sure, but there was one game Potato Fist built like uh, Dead Man's play or not? Is it Dead? Yeah, Dead Man's
Oh, I know what you're
against.
talking about. Yeah,
You
yeah,
go
yeah, yeah,
Dead
yeah,
Man's against 4 AP. Like if you literally just went Cinderhulk into Spirit Visage, Merc Treads, or even Abyssal Mask, like because he had I think he had a Diana on his team. Maybe am I thinking about the right?
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the game right now, and it's actually worse. He went Ninja Tabby into
Uh,
Malphite, Galio, Ziggs, and Morg.
yeah. So
Yep.
what was that team? What
It
was?
was a he had Volibear, Silas, Diana, Caitlyn,
That's what I'm
Lucius.
saying. You had Silas and Diana, and you didn't go Abyssal Mask, like
Yeah.
against 4 AP. Like, okay, Nick, I love you, but brother, come on, like that's that's so troll. That's almost like that's almost as troll as going Black Cleaver when you have three teammates that are AP. Like that's I I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think Zero Risk is they're an okay team. The first time I played against them, I mean, if you asked me this question like 2 weeks ago, I would have said they're like literal doo doo, right? I went like 13-2. It felt like solo queue. But
Mhm.
like the second loss, the game that I lost against them, it humbled me a bit. I think their jungler's definitely solid when he's not building Ninja Tabby into 4 AP. Uh, their 80, I think their 80 is smurfing. I'm not gonna lie. Like he has
Oh,
like we
Yes.
brought it up when we were prepping for them, and then my coach was like, yeah, this dude is like he only plays rank flex, and he's like gold, and he's like smurfing like half the time. Like I think he's smurfing, and like I mean I guess so maybe, but like if he's smurfing, he's like hard stuck platform. That's my opinion. Like
Yikes.
I like the first game. I mean, the second game I played against him. I mean, he like did his job, right? He 80 carried. He won the game. There's nothing really special about that. The second game, I mean, the first game, he just didn't do shit. So I don't know. I think they definitely have potential. I think Defloat is pretty good. His pool's kind of trash, but he's decent. Scrambles is a good laner. I'm not gonna lie. And Potato Fist is decent. I think they definitely have potential, but they just the way they play, it definitely screams we need a coach.
I agree.
I agree. You mentioned their ADC KTN, and I'm just gonna back off or caveat off that rather, and just say every game except for the one game where Zero Risk played Hecarim and Shen, KTN has done, in my opinion, exceptional. And the two Poros game is no exception. Most CS, very impressive scoreline, and he's making a good case for being a Smurf, so to speak. But I can't.
Baby
He's
TK
just
question mark.
yeah, maybe TK gap in the bot lane, but he's definitely, I think, without a doubt, their carry player unless they do potato fist on Hecarim and win the game that way. And he's just done exceptionally. I can't. I for an IBSG player, so to speak, I can't give enough credit to him. He's done
Yeah,
so
he's
well.
definitely exceptional. I think from my games and just watching, him and Okina definitely stand out. The rest are like whatever gold players, but those two stand out as good players to me.
Very true. And our last game on Saturday was Glacial, the Gold Plat team versus Valkyrie. And last season, not sorry, last season. Last week, Valkyrie wasn't looking too hot. They were, I think, like 1-2, if I remember
Mm-hmm.
correctly, maybe 2-2.
1 and 2.
And yeah, and they were kind of looking like what they predicted to be was an average team, kind of right dead in the middle. But then they pulled out a nice, convincing 2-0 week against Glacial and then against Pawn Sacrifice. And the Glacial game looked, in my eyes, quite convincing. Their ADC fusion popped off on Lucian. Um, they finished the game 30 minutes, kind of average, but they looked really solid, in my opinion.
I actually didn't get to watch this game, but Valkyrie, we've scrimmed them. I say Primal Radiance, we've scrimmed them 2 or 3 times now. They've been pretty consistent partners. They're always very helpful, very respectful. Like when we schedule a time, they actually show up. They've only had to cancel on us once, but they're definitely a team that I think is being, um, what's the term? Like I don't want to keep
Overlooked.
saying being slept on, but they're definitely not being valued at what they're worth, because they have players that all given the opportunity can pop off. You know, Sev is dead. I don't think he's a superstar mid laner. but I think given the right opportunity, I think he can make a difference. Fusions again, really good. False, we played a scrim and his thresh hook was literally a magnet and was hitting everything that moved. Um, I forget who their top laner and jungler are, but
Top laner is Metaslave, and their jungler
Metaslave,
is
yep,
Hybrid Carry.
and hybrid carry. Hybrid carry, oh my god, I he was playing Gragas and he had 6 kills in 4 minutes. Like he was literally ganking. He literally cleared. He went like bot mid, top mid, bot, and killed everyone everywhere he went. And I was just like, bro, this guy's a fucking animal.
Damn,
I
maybe Amari
definitely,
should take some hints from
yeah,
him.
for real, honestly. But I think this team, honestly, people are rating them like seventh, eighth, sixth, maybe. I think they could probably be like top five, probably with how PSB is playing, um, with how Primal, how we're playing recently. Um, I mean, it's definitely a chance. I
Hmm.
think I think standings are definitely going to get shaken up going into week 4, so we'll see where they end up. But um,
I do just want to say that I think a lot of reason why people are maybe like overlooking them or kind of sleeping on them, so to speak, is because of the showing they had against Solar Phoenix.
mhm,
And no discredit to them. Like Solar Phoenix as a team on roster is very good. They perform very well. And Valkyrie didn't have the best showing because it was the first game in duo because it was against the caliber opponent they had. And outside of Solar Phoenix and maybe MG, I'm not 100% sure if they faced them yet. Valkyrie has looked good, and like you said, if they continue like this and get better, like how they have been showing they are, I definitely see them beating or like getting fifth, maybe even taking that last playoff spot if they can sneak another win off of like Crow or MG, or and if Pawn Sacrifice keeps losing like they have been, I could definitely see them getting at the lowest fifth, if not sneaking into that final playoff spot.
definitely.
Yeah, so that
Um,
was all the games on Saturday. Like I said, there was only three because Eyes on Us game didn't happen. But I do want to talk about some notable Austrian games that were entertaining for a variety of reasons. And to save Tommy some anguish, we're gonna start off with the PSB versus Ether
thank
game.
you.
Yes, I don't worry, I got your back, bud. So as we mentioned earlier, Aether did pull out a 2 a week in week 2, and their win against Primal and then their win against Pawn Sacrifice, in which Good Moniker got his bye again and performed much better than what he did in the Primal game. Finished 10 and 2. Ziggy got the Senna again, finished 12 and 3. And to PSV's credit, they did have Amari playing jungle and didn't look that good, but they still were playing a very easy mid jungle combo in Gragas Yasuo. But that game was a shit show. I'm sorry.
I didn't watch it. I just remember. I think that was the same day as. I think it was literally the same day as one of our other matches, and
It was
it
the same day you guys played us, actually. Yeah.
was it.
Yes, it was.
Oh, it was.
Or
Yeah, yeah.
sorry, no.
No, no.
Well,
I think it was because like it was literally right after. I think I was so focused on the Solar Phoenix game that
mhm.
I didn't have a chance to even look at like I don't think I looked at Duo. I'm pretty active in the Discord and I didn't look at Duo like once that day because we were literally just in our Discord like prepping and trying to like figure shit out, which didn't matter anyway. But uh I just remember getting like a notification. They're like, "Yo, PSB lost," and this was right after they were 1 and 2 already, and I was like, "Against Aether? Like, what?" I know we
Mhm.
lost to them, but PSB lost to Aether, and I look at it and I see Omari's jungling, and they have to use Alley Dragon, and to no discredit, Alley Dragon is perfectly fine support, but I mean, you just made a roster change to play with legit Sack, and then he already had to go because it was like 11 o'clock and it's past his bedtime or whatever. Um, but PSB is just, I feel bad like talking down on them because like those are my homies, you know, like they took me in when nobody else would, you know. So, but I I wish there was something I could do, something I could say, but like I don't want to pity Sheer and Omari, like I don't, because they're good enough players. Like I don't know what the issue is this season, and I just hope they figure it out because I miss seeing them win. So
The only other thing I'm gonna say to this, and this is not flame, this is not like me being a dick towards them or anything. I think what they're missing as a team is a Totemax, but not the player, so to speak. Because Totemax, if he got a lead, he could perform very well and like call shots, make very good picks, and kind of in a sense like solo carry a game. Even if he wasn't ahead, let's say he was like playing Victor and he had an even score line, he still knew very well what to do as a player. And no discredit to Sheer in the top lane, no real discredit to Tate or Aiden, even though I'm not the biggest fan of him for his champ pool. But they're lacking the player that can legitimately solo carry a game when given resources. Because given I haven't known Sheer in the top lane very much, but based off his Shen performances, yes, he did do good or do well, I should say. But a Shen can only do so much in a game. He can't 1v9 like an Orianna can, or a Kassadin, or for that matter, like a Lucian. And then Aqua in the bot lane, again, no discredit to him, but Lucian can only do so much with the short range. Ezreal can only do so much once you get your items at 25, 30 minutes. And then Tate, when given resources on Yasuo against Solar Phoenix, yes, he did do well. But when it came to the time of like crunch time, so to speak, of when he had to fight a certain member, that being Camille, he the champion just didn't have it in him to beat the split push menace that Camille eventually got to. So I think what PSB is missing is that resource giver that can um, bring the team along with them to the victory line.
that's fair. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
So I just want to bring it back to the game itself, right?
Sure, go
And
ahead.
just talk about something that I've already talked about earlier. But Sheer has Titanic Hydra, Sunfire, Bramble, Tabby, and Warmogs against a 9-kill Vlad, who has finished Cap, finished Proto Belt. And I don't want to call him out or anything. I don't want to say that's the reason they lost. But just as like a point to anyone listening or something, I'm just saying like if you iron out these small little things like builds, movement, pathing, they're like little improvements, right? But they go so far in a team setting. And I think these small margins, like they bring you from a team who's like, oh, maybe top 5 to like, oh, definitely a contender, right? Because I feel like in a gold league, everyone's good enough to be on a first place team. Almost everyone is good enough to be on a first place team. It's just up to you to make those improvements to become that team.
You can't really. Sheer will never be the person to build conventional shit. You miss the days of season 4 top lane Sheer when he would play Scion and first item build Redemption. And
That's big brain, dude.
yeah,
That's respect to that, dude.
like like you think like why, right? Like why would you go Redemption? Like CDR health, your W has a bigger shield. You can cast it when you're dying or when you're dead. So when you're dead, you're alive for longer. It does damage to enemies. Like it's a team fighting item. Like I was just like I was blown away because like I remember playing. I used to play top lane against him, and he was literally the only person I could never beat in lane ever. Like our team before we got banned, like they were like 7-0. We were 6-1, and a lot of it had to do with me in the top lane picking Jace, Jax, or like Rumble, something like that, like a carry top laner, and just stomping top lane. And then Sheer would come in, and I would be thrown on Shen duty for some goddamn reason. He would play Scion, and I would just lose lane, like hard lose lane. And like I was excited when this swap happened. I wasn't excited the person they were replacing Sheer with, but I was excited to see Sheer play in the top lane again. And now I'm just like, okay. So
He's definitely a good player.
yeah,
Very
definitely.
good.
I honestly like. I hope he hears this. Like, dude, I want a team with Sheer. I've played with Sheer. Like, I'm filling in for scrims. I've played with Sheer on Clash. I played with him in another league. I love teaming with Sheer. He is a very vocal player, a very like headstrong player to where he will tell you you are fucking wrong, like, and here's why, and then he'll also be like, you need to come here and help me or we're gonna lose. And it's like if you don't listen to that and you lose, like that's on you, not on him. So I would love to team with Sheer again if the opportunity ever arose, but at the moment I'm sitting pretty in 6th place. So
Yeah.
Join the
Uh,
club. Join the club.
yeah. So the other off-stream game that I want to talk about is PS Red versus Dynasty, and the reason is actually for Dynasty. So even though they did lose to PS Red in this game, I think Dynasty is actually doing quite well as a team. They're currently at 2nd place in the IBSG rankings, right alongside, or sorry, 3rd place, right alongside PS Blue and PS Red, with a little asterisk next to the name for makeup games. But the reason I want to talk about this game is because PS Red is a top tier, if not the top tier, however you want to take that discussion. And they took PS Red to the absolute limit of their team, in my opinion, so to speak. Yes, some of their score lines aren't that pretty, 2-10, 1-5, 11-7, probably doesn't look that great on paper. But the only reason that, in my opinion, that they lost is because of Caitlyn. Like, Caitlyn had an exceptional score line at 12-8. She had full build.
champion's
She was dealing a
broken.
lot of damage. And Dynasty, for the under the radar as they have been, they're not very talked about. They're not very highlighted.
I still don't
Um,
know who's on that team.
I'll be so the only
I know
person that
Vaunted
I
Dreams
know.
on it because he DM'd
Oh,
me.
Vaunted
That's all I
Dreams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
know.
I know Vaunted Dreams.
yeah,
Yeah.
He's literally the only person I know because he's the team captain and he messages me about like admin stuff all the time. And the the only thing I want to say about them is, yes, they have lost games, but they've only lost games to top tier teams. Because I'm scrolling through and I don't think they've lost to anyone besides like PS Blue, PS Red, and maybe Arknights. I'm not sure if that one's getting remade or not, but uh, yeah, that's a team that I think deserves credit where no credit has been given because there's so many other high profile teams and players that are in that league.
That's fair. So go ahead and talk your
Yes.
shit.
Yes. So the last game, for my own sake, that I want to talk about is Solar Phoenix versus Primal Radiance. And this game had a lot on the line for no significant reason whatsoever. So Pablo made a deal with Painless to win him a solo queue game, and if they lost, Painless got to choose whatever champion Pablo got to play against us. And we held true to that because Painless was like, you know what? I'm going to give you what he thought was probably the most useless champion in the game in the support role in Shaco.
Bro, it's
And me being a silver player, like low elo dog shit guy, I can say Shaco is very good at the support role, even from behind, because of the boxes that provide zoning, the fear or the inherent CC you get from the boxes. And like I said, we held true to that word. We played Shaco, and your team pulled out. I don't even know what to call it. Like the most solo queue
there's
champs
methods
I've
to
ever
our
seen.
madness. I'm not even kidding. There's methods to our madness, but like
I can
Please
definitely see
explain.
that with the heel Maokai support.
okay, so Senna Maokai is actually fucking disgusting. I don't know if you've played against it, played with it, or anything, but like if either of the W's land, then it's fucking doomed. Like you just die slowly, right?
Hmm.
It's not like a Nautilus, whatever. But basically, our thoughts were, if Shaco's gonna try and be all sneaky with the bushes, let's be sneaky back. Let's throw some saplings in that bitch. And if he tries to stay in the bushes all lane, he's just going to slowly die. Also, if he tries to queue in, we just have a sweeper going on Maokai. As soon as he comes out of invisibility, she just, like, W,
Yeah.
and then he's dead, right? Which, to be fair, worked out really fucking well, okay?
In the lane, it worked out
It worked
exceptionally well.
really well.
I will give you guys that
Okay.
credit. Yes.
Secondly, we played Lilia jungle
Yep.
because Nuffies and Painless have this idea that right now the triangle of the jungle is like Evelyn, Karthus, Lilia, which it's not Wrong. Evelyn Karthus is really strong. People really don't play those champions. Lilia, if like you can power farm, if you can gank, right? Really obnoxious champion to play against. That
Very
left
true.
me in a position. Do I want to stack AP with Lilia, or do I want to play an AD mid laner? Now, we came to find out, not Souleos, Solus, the top laner for my team,
Hmm.
myself, and Peanut all play Lucian, and lo and behold, Lucian's really popular right now. So
Very true.
we, uh, red side first phase, pick Lucian. We triple flex it. We save it all the way until last pick. I think we picked Senna last.
You
Um,
picked GP last.
oh, don't even get me fucking started on the GP pick, dude.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna get you started on that.
Dude,
Oh,
I knew as soon as it was picked. Okay, so Solus doesn't play GP by trade. Like, it's not one of his top champions. He's picked it up. He's picked it up very, very quickly. And, like, his first, like, 10 games, I was like, bro, this is going to take, like, 6 months for him to, like, learn GP. He learned it in, like, 2, 3 weeks. And I was like, okay, wow. Like, you don't know.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah, like, it's not, like, perfect, but, I mean, I'm telling you, the first couple games, he would die like 9 times in lane, and like couldn't barrel chain, couldn't do anything. Like he was only good for his ultimates. And then we were playing flex one game. He picks GP. I'm not really paying attention, but like I see him get a 1v2 double kill. I see him triple barrel chain. I see him like his ults were actually like useful, and I was like, okay, like maybe his GP is like actually really good. And then last pick they have Fiora. I'm like, what are we gonna play top lane to match the Fiora? And he goes, how about GP? And I'm just like, I don't know, but like if you can, because the thing is, if you can play GP into Fiora and literally stalemate the lane, not give any early kills, take the game later into the game where you have your Trinity Force, you have your Essence Reaper, you have your Leandries, you have your Infinity. If you can wait that far, all it takes is one crit barrel and the whole team fight changes.
Absolutely. Yep.
So it's not a bad pick, but Fiora is just gonna like just the whole lane, like it's just gonna abuse you because she can run you down. She can like she can Q on your barrels as soon as like if she wants to. Like, it's just a really shitty matchup. And then Codnim played Sejuani really really well. That dude, I I was playing Lucian. I could not touch him. I ultied the Sejuani as she was running at me. I did 300 damage.
Yeah.
I was like,
I watched that. That was
I
so
was
funny
like,
to
what
watch,
is this
dude.
champion? Like, I break the armor and then she has more armor. I was like, this is ridiculous. Um, Manatsu played really well on Oriana. They did this one combo on me for my first death. It was Sejuani R into Oriana R, and if I thought I would have had time after the Sejuani ulti to flash over the wall, but Manatsu channeled the R as soon as the ball was sent, so it went off as soon as it finished moving, and I didn't have time. But I don't want to talk anymore about that game. But we are running low on time. We are already over an hour. Yeah, it's been a long show, and it hasn't really felt like it. So we are gonna have to start wrapping it up.
Yes. So the that's only the off-stream games, and I got my fair share of enjoyment listening to Tommy
Yeah.
bitch about that for a couple minutes. But last thing is I want to talk about is standings and kind of hint at like the week 3 games a little bit. Um, with PSB now dropping even more games, they're currently in sixth,
I
seventh,
think
I think.
sixth.
Let's
Yeah.
see, sixth, yes, or seventh actually at one
Deep
and
draw.
three. Um, this is more of a question for me and Tommy because I don't think you know too much about GPCS
I do not
teams
keep
to an
up.
extent. But they asked us on Tower Dive, Tommy, do you think PSB can bring it back to be top 3?
I I don't know. I don't. I think with their current roster, or if they made changes.
With like sheer top legit sack jungle and assuming Amari doesn't get auto filled anymore.
With the current roster, no.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think I think if they went sort of to the pseudo beginning season 6 PSB where it was like Aiden top lane, sheer jungle, Amari support, and I mean Aqua, he's doing his best to try and fill Shrimp's shoes. I seriously don't think he's bad. I really don't. I
I don't
think he's
either.
very even, and like when he gets ahead, he can carry a game. But
Hmm.
it's trying to get ahead while not like overstepping and losing, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Um, but the mid lane is just it's tough to watch. Like in their first match against Crow in the first game that PSB played of the season, Aiden looked really well or really good. Well, what? He looked really good on Zed. And I was like, okay, I wasn't expecting this. He's normally a top laner. He played jungle for a season. I mean, I think he's really just memeing, trying to get his third championship on his third role, which you're already the only person with 3 championships. So why do you need a fourth on a third role? Just get a fourth to be the only 4-time champion. Like,
Yeah.
um, but I don't know who, I don't know how, I don't know when or why or whenever they'll find this change that they need. But if they want to make top 3, it's got to start happening quick. Like we're already heading into the 4th week, so
I agree. Like I said on Tower Dive, I don't see them being top 3, much less a top 5 with their current roster with how badly they've been performing. And I will just give a quick shout out to Glacier, I think, or Glaive. What was that guy's name that played for them just
oh,
recently?
glance,
Glance.
yeah.
Yeah, Glance looked exceptional. I'm not gonna lie, he looked extremely good. He filled the mid role that was missing. And again, no discredit to Aiden. I just think Glance is a much better fit for that
I
team.
mean, if he came in and it was like Aiden top lane, sheer jungle, glance mid lane, I think that would be an improvement. I
I would
th-
agree to that.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if that's what went down because I know Glance isn't playing on a team right now. Um, but maybe Aiden's going to be headstrong and wants to play mid lane. I feel bad like I dog on Aiden during these things, but he's a good guy. But I just don't know what they're thinking, especially when they did the whole Zooey top Aiden mid lane thing. Like, if it's really just to play mid lane, like, it's not that easy. Like, any mid laner will tell you, or any top laner will tell you, like, mid is its entirely, like, different game. So you can't just skill check your opponent every 40 seconds and, like, hope the jungler's not there, because the jungler can literally be there in 10 seconds everywhere he is. So.
Other thing I want to mention is Solar Eclipse. Now that they have Villain, Zillion, and Cyrus in their natural roles, so to speak, they're currently sitting at 4th at 3-3.
They also have
Um,
amazing time now. Or
well,
Alley.
yeah. Ali, amazing time. Yep. He's not going to be there forever. He's just filling in for Bard while he takes care of personal stuff.
Mhm.
But do you think that Eclipse has what it takes to be number 1 or maybe number 2?
I don't know because I feel really like I feel something still feels off for me about that team. We
Okay.
we scrimmed them the day after Villain joined that team, and we beat them 2-0. But it wasn't like they weren't hard stomps. Like they made us work for it. But I think Villain, I don't. You would know more than me about it if Villain would like. I think he's good at managing outside of the game too.
Hmm.
Things like draft, things like prep, stuff like that. I think he's very helpful for things like that. But and I mean in game he's a great player too. But I don't I don't know enough about hard only for Bard. I don't know enough about lose lane,
Lose.
blame jungle, right?
Yep.
And then
Exactly. Yep.
Cyrus, I've literally only seen him on Ziggs, and Ziggs and Zareth actually. So like those long range poke mages. But if anyone's gonna be the person to carry a team, it's gonna be Villain and Zillion in the bot lane. So I have faith. But to make them a top 2, 3 team, I think they're in the easier division to do it.
Okay.
So I could see it happening.
Okay. And the last question I'm gonna ask both of you in this case is about Dynasty. So as I mentioned, they did pick up a couple wins, currently sitting at third. With the pending remakes that they have and their schedule going forward, do you two think Dynasty is going to be staying at that third, fourth spot going forward, or do you think Zero Risk or possibly Divine Ascension will pass them?
Souleos, you want to go first? Or Souleos, you want to go first?
Sure. So I think Dynasty is a pretty good team. I've said that about pretty much every IBSG team, but I think every team in IBSG has potential. I think they're definitely one of the better ones. They're looking pretty good, but I think anything not named Pawn Sacrifice, like it's all up in the air, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can be third this week, and you could be like sixth in like 2 weeks, and the gap between you and third isn't even that big, if I'm being honest.
True. True.
It's all about form. It's all about who shows up on the day. And yeah, I just think could be anything could happen. I think they're definitely good though. I think they have the potential to stay
Okay.
up there.
So I agree. I think they have the potential to stay up there, but just like you said, like IBSG is so back and forth. The competition outside of like 1 and 2 is really close. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just who's going to win the games that matter. You know, like are you going to beat that team that's like below you, or are you going to beat the team that's above you and like move up in those ranks? I haven't I haven't been able to see any dynasty games, unfortunately, because I think they've been doing mostly remakes.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
maybe we'll see them on stream this week. I don't know. But I personally would like to see a team besides red and blue in the top two. Uh, I mean, will it happen? Who the hell knows? But
True.
Probably not. I'm gonna be honest.
but I mean,
It's because I'm not playing anymore. You know.
why is that? Why aren't you playing?
Okay, so I guess we can talk about this for a bit. So I was told, I think earlier this week that our current Glacial Academy roster is going to be pulling out of Duo, and this isn't because we're pussies or anything. Don't worry, we're not pussying out. It's mainly because of like scheduling stuff. We were supposed to talk about this at the beginning, but we didn't. I'm like 12 hours ahead of U.S. time,
Yeah, I'm sorry
so
about that.
yeah, no, it's good. So it's really difficult. I can only play like 2 games a week, like 2 days a week in US nights, right?
Hmm.
So in a league like Duo where you just get assigned like 4 games and you have to schedule it throughout the week, it's really hard for me to start. And so I'm even though I was intended to be the starter, I'm pretty much subbing for Kono most of the time. And that's definitely a big problem with Duo. And also because we're playing like fucking musical chairs, it's definitely much better to sub in an already established roster to fill our spot for us.
Damn.
So in terms of the future for me and Duo, I don't know, dude. I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty interested in this league. I think the content definitely has me intrigued. I'm definitely very interested in playing in the future. If you're looking for a mid to 1v9, please hit me up. Hit my DMs. I promise my ego isn't as big when I'm talking to my teammates.
Well, hey man, that's
Yeah.
unfortunate to hear about, but we hope you stick around. Like, again,
Yeah, I hope I get to stick around as well.
again,
It's been pretty cool.
you've gotten the fans' approval. If this is your first season and like you're already getting voted onto the pod or the flank, I almost said the podcast. Well, I guess it is podcast.
Podcast.
But I think is that all the topics we have to cover today? I mean, we're running at almost an hour 20 already.
Yeah.
So,
So
We have
last
to
thing,
announce our straw poll for
whew.
yes.
who's going to be
Yeah.
filling in
So
for me.
this week's additional straw poll, the people are going to be who famously made his return is Young Walrus, better known as Tyler from last season, current mid laner for Fight Club. He now got his way back in somehow. We have Arch, the mid laner for MG Waves, put up very good performances these last couple weeks. We have Codnim, or as people from Solar Phoenix call him, Chong, jungler for Solar Phoenix. We have Titan Duff, jungler for PS Red. And the last person, we have KTN from Zero Risk. I was contemplating putting Okina back on the list because this is now 3/4 straight weeks he's done
He
exceptional.
deserves it, dude.
Dude,
But
It's been
that's
so
the reason
long.
I keep putting him on there is because he keeps fucking smurfing on everybody, and everyone's
He-
like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
he keeps smurfing, but every week he gets like 1 vote.
And it's me!
So- Oh, okay,
Yeah.
we know he's a loyal follower now.
Cause I'm like, dude, I want to hear,
definitely-
this dude fucking shit talk, and he's humble and shit, but I want to hear him be like, nah, these AD carries fucking blow, like.
I'll vote for him next poll. But
Yeah,
for this week,
so-
I'm pretty interested in hearing from KTN.
Oh, he wants to hear if
I-
he's a Smurf or not.
Yeah.
True. Pretty true. No,
But
but
yeah,
I'm definitely I'd love to hear what he says. I think he's a really good player. Yeah.
Yep. So
Alright.
those are the people for this week's edition. Since we are late on this episode, I'll keep them out till next Sunday, next Saturday, being the 12th, and hopefully we can get this done sooner. Hopefully I don't sleep and drink a lot like I did this
Yeah.
week.
I think BBR
Um,
oversleeping has permanently moved back the flank by a few days.
No, we'll
Probably.
get this week up. Don't worry.
Probably.
I promise I won't drink as much as I did.
Oh god.
He texted me while he literally texted me. I was in school, and he texted me. I'm sorry, I'm really drunk right now. Like I texted it. I
Oh
texted
my
him. I was
God.
like, "Can we run it at like 7 p.m. or something?" And he's like, "Sorry, I'm severely drunk right now." And then he was like, "You're at school? What time is it? Where are you?" And then I was in Malaysia, and then he was like, "Damn, that's crazy, bro."
Yeah,
like,
I was so destroyed. And when he said he was in Malaysia, it took me a second. I was like, wait, that's not a city in USA. And then I was like, oh wait, he means the other side of the continent. And I was like,
Of the
I had
continent?
like, or
Of the
you know what I
continent.
mean? Shut the fuck up. I had like 6 or 7 people with me at the time, and I was like, yo, I know someone from Malaysia. And, oh my dude, I was so fucking wasted that night. It's not even funny.
Oh my god. Well, now that you've heard BBR's party adventure, we're gonna have to wrap up this episode. Mr. Souleos, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. Good luck
So much.
in your future games if you are playing. We hope you stick around. Hopefully, play in future games. If not, you've definitely put up a performance. But I'm Tommy2Time. This has been Big Black Rainbows. This was episode 3 of The Flank. We're gonna go ahead and link the straw poll in the Duo channel, as well as link it in the comment or in the description box. So be sure to stick around and tune in next week when we talk to another special guest about week 4 of Duo Esports Season 7. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
And
stick it in.
hit my DMs up. I do want to play in duo, but I am teamless right now. So definitely hit me up.
Okay.